All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everyone has had a good and productive day. I've got just a couple of words spend a few minutes here about sending a word of encouragement to our church, to fellow Christians. There's a lot of things going on in our world that I never thought would happen. A lot of people are getting nervous, even fear. But I want to remind you that according to God's word, He is in control. He is in control. He's not taken by surprise. I want to read in the 5th chapter of Matthew, in verse 13. It says, "Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out, and to be trodden under foot of men. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on an hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." We are called to be salt. We're called to be light. Salt is a preservative. And we know the one that can keep us through no matter what goes on in the world and give us that glorified body to spend eternity with Him. We're called to be light. The smallest light, the smallest candle shines brighter the darker that it is. And our world today is growing very dark. As a society, we're pushing God out of so many places. There's even a lot of churches that do not preach the truth of the gospel. They don't want to talk about the blood shed on Calvary. Don't want to talk about the cross because someone may be offended. I am thankful that at 9 years old, I attended a church where the preacher preached on hell. He would always say, it doesn't do a man any good to preach on heaven if you don't also preach on the verses that say you must be born again in order to enter in. And that's the truth then, and that's the truth today. And I'm thankful I attend a church today that preaches the truth, that stands up for the truth. We're called to be the light of the world. There's darkness all around us, but we can be the light. We have the answer that people are seeking for. I believe in every individual, there's a place, there's a spot that only God can fill. People try to fill it with money, with fame, with fortune, with careers, with whatever. But these things are only temporary. God is eternal, and His blessings are eternal. That wherever we are and whatever we're doing, we need to be working for God. We need to be that effective witness for Him. For the time is coming when no man can work. We're approaching that night, I'm afraid, people. If we're going to do something for God, we need to be about doing it now. Because the time is coming that we will not be able to work for Him and do things for Him. And I don't want to stand before God and think, oh, I wish I'd have done this. I wish I'd have done that. Because the time for working then is over. It's past. And when it's gone, it's gone. I want to read a verse in Romans chapter 10, verse 14. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? How shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? How shall they preach except they be sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings of good things. We are called to spread the gospel. The world is looking for something, as I mentioned a while ago. And we have exactly what they're looking for. Some are a little timid to share it. But it's the best news ever. It's the best thing ever to happen to mankind in our entire existence is the gospel. And it's time to spread the gospel while it is yet day and man can work. In 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 58, Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. He's talking to us Christians there, Paul is. He used the word beloved. He used the word brethren. He's not talking to the world. He's talking to Christians. And not only preachers, Christians, lay people. We've got to be steadfast and unmovable. In our society today, it seems like it changes. The wind changes of what people are wanting to believe. We've got to be that immovable object. We've got to be steadfast in our commitment to Christ, or we will not be successful. We've got to share the gospel. We've got to spread the gospel. Sorry about that. Go on. We have to spread the gospel wherever we go. Satan is going to try to stop us, yes. He's tried to stop the gospel from the beginning. But he's not successful. God is in control. 1 John 4:4, Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. I firmly believe that even a child can stand up and preach the truth and have God so much in him that he will be unmovable. We can be unmovable today. We've got to stand for the truth. People today, well, they'll tell you that truth is relative. No, the truth is always the truth. And we've got to realize that, because Satan is working very hard to stop us. He's wanted to stop the program of God. But our labor is not in vain, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. I've already read the back of the book, and God's wins. God's people are victorious. Those that stay true to the end. Those that run the race with patience. Those that finish the race. We have to finish the race. We can stand firm no matter what is happening in our world, and God will bless us. In Isaiah 5:20, Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. This is where we are today, folks. People are looking at things that are evil and saying it's good. We have so many TV programs now that glorifies Lucifer, talks about Lucifer being the shining one, showing that Lucifer is the one we need to look to. My Bible says that is a lie. My Bible shows Lucifer to be defeated. My Bible shows that if we stand true for Christ, He'll stand up for us. People are looking at good and calling it evil today. People all around us are wise in their own eyes, looking at, saying, look at what I've done. Look at what I've accomplished. I can't do anything without God. I can't take a step without Him holding my hand. I can't take my next breath without Him being with me. We've got to stand firm for Him. But the thing is that in the days we're living in, even though we don't know what's coming next, we don't know what tomorrow holds, but we do know who holds tomorrow. And I'm thankful that He is going to be with us through thick and thin. He's going to be with us no matter what situation we find ourselves in. That we don't need to fear, but that we need to rejoice because we're getting closer to the end. Now, we may face things that we don't want to face. Christ did things He didn't want to do either. I remember Him praying in the Garden of Gethsemane. He said, Father, let this cup pass from me. In other words, He's saying, Lord, I don't want to do this, but Thy will be done, not mine. He was willing to do what it took. And whatever it takes today to make heaven our home is going to be worth it. It's going to be worth anything and everything we give up. Anything we endure today is going to be worth it. In Luke chapter 21 and verse 26, and I'm trying to close, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. As I said at the beginning of this tonight, this is not a time to get discouraged. This is not a time to allow fear to come into our hearts. God is going to be with us. He said when these things begin to come to pass, and I believe they're beginning to come to pass. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to set a time for the rapture. That's all in God's hands. No one but Him knows the time. Who is to say we will live until the rapture? We may be taken out in a moment's time. Tomorrow, next week, next month, I don't know. But we may make it to the rapture. But regardless, things are beginning to happen that makes me believe that we're getting awfully close to that time. And as the verse says there, when these things begin to come to pass, Look up. Lift up your heads. Your redemption is drawing nigh. There's coming a time when God is going to say enough is enough. He's going to look to the right, look to his son, say, go get my people. We're very, very close. It's not a time to get discouraged. It's not a time to let fear come in. It would be a tragic, tragic thing for a Christian to lose out at this late stage of the game. We're so close to the end, people. Let's be encouraged. Let's look up and say, Lord, you are in control. Because nothing is taking him by surprise. Nothing ever will. He is in control. And things are only going to happen that he allows. Of course, in the story of Job, before Satan could escalate his attacks on Job, he had to go before the throne of God and ask permission. So let's not get despondent. Let's not become fearful, because God is in control and he's going to take care of us. Thank you very much. See you next week at church.